told you you had a story to share, would you tell it? Better yet, if you knew you could share it with everybody and you would be able to make a difference in someone's life, would you be willing to sit here and share it with me and everyone else out there? Hi, I'm Christine, and I love to ask questions. I'd rather have the be in the now than the no. Today, I have a special guest who talks about cancer. We hear cancer of all different types, but we're not really sure what the cure is, how we get them. We just know that there's studies. We also know that there's different levels, children, dogs, people. Back in the day, we used to think that when we got older, then you died because you had some illness of some sort. Today, I have a gentleman who is going to speak about his journey of prostate cancer, and not very many people talk about these things, so I'm going to bring that to you. Today, my guest is Nick, and Nick is going through the process of cancer, prostate cancer.
I was initially diagnosed as prostate cancer, but I had a prostatectomy back in August of 2019. So now that the prostate is gone, the remnants from that is cancer. So right now I'm getting ready to face some radiation treatment for the cancer.
So when did you find out that you had prostate cancer?
Wow, great question. I want to say when I went to my primary doctor, I want to say somewhere around late April, May of 2019, and he had me take a series of tests, blood tests, and he suggested that I might want to see a urologist, so I would say probably around May of 2019.
So, because I'm not familiar with it, because I'm female, I deal with breast cancer, ovarian cancers, and the other cancers that we know out there. What made you decide to go to the doctor to even be given this diagnosis?
Well, I had some symptoms in the mornings where I would try to get up and urinate, and I would have to walk around in order for me to flow correctly. I couldn't go, so I would walk back, maybe start the coffee pot and do a couple other things at the start of the morning, and then I would have to go to the bathroom, but I wasn't completely emptying out my bladder. I put it off for a while, and I put it off for as long as I really think that I could, and finally I made the decision to schedule an appointment with my doctor.
And that's where they did the test that you just talked about?
Correct. That's where my primary referred me to a urologist, and the urologist set up an appointment with me, and from there it went to a series of to a biopsy, to this is the results of the biopsy, and here's a book, this is what you may need to decide on.
So you're actually given a book?
Yes, I was.
What was in this book?
In the book, it was different types of cancer, but different types of treatment for cancer. My wife and I had to make the decision whether to go with a prostatectomy, which was removal of the prostate, or radiation treatments. I don't think I was requested to make a decision for like beads or anything that I hear other people talk about. Okay. Mine ended up being a pretty severe case where it was typically a level 2 to 4 for my age group, and it ended up being a 21. So it was a pretty severe stage 1 cancer. Mm-hmm.
Wow. I only ask these questions because I don't know. How did that make you feel after you and I've already shared a similar tragedy in our life, and then something that we thought would knock us down? It sounds like this would have knocked you down pretty hard too.
You know, I kind of rallied on the situation in the past that caused me to pause when it came to life and everyday life. And that situation kind of prepared me for this, but I thought I was prepared until the word cancer came out, and I wasn't.
No.
No.
So with cancer, tell us about the treatment that you had to go through. You actually opted in the actual surgery?
No, not actually in the surgery. That would have been difficult because the way they had me, I don't want to say seduced, but under the Sadek, thanks, Vera. We made the decision after talking to several people, after praying about it, and talking to some people that have had both radiation as well as the removal of the prostate.
Okay.
And for my life expectancy, it was better for me to make the decision for the prostate to be removed.
Okay.
That was the decision that we made. So when it came down to the actual surgery, there were some complications during the surgery where my prostate was a lot larger than what they thought.
Oh, wow.
Or had anticipated.
Okay.
The region that it laid up against. And so they had to take a larger margin around my prostate than was expected. So turned from a 4-hour surgery into like a 7.5-hour
Oh,
surgery.
wow.
So
Okay. How long were you down?
wow, I'm still down.
How-
How long I was down? I would probably say 2 months after the surgery. I kind of came back to work on a kind of a more full time, but in that 2-month period, I had a lot of assistance from my wife and co-workers and family and friends. So as far as being the point down, I would probably say a couple months I was probably down, but
Okay.
as far as physical, and that's the physical part of it. Mentally, man, it took a toll even after my recovery from the surgery and everything. And to this day, I get moments where it causes a pause in my day to realize how fortunate I am. You know, I was diagnosed with a cancer that's treatable, gone to an extent to where it's treatable, and I'm optimistic that it's curable.
You know, we are told as women, make sure you go and have your breast exams.
Same as myself.
The same as self. Sorry, you.
I don't do breast exams, but I was, I will for here out every 3 months have to do a PSA.
Were you doing that prior to finding out?
No, I didn't.
So it's very important that that takes place.
Absolutely, I would
Okay.
suggest every male start getting their prostate checked, especially over the age of 50.
Okay.
So, which I barely made.
Yeah, me too. So, your wife is here in the background as a
Yes, she
supporter. What kind of role was she able to help you with in this time? In the very beginning, how was she?
She was huge, and I don't diminish that word huge. She was very huge. I couldn't have drove myself to the appointments. I couldn't have taken care of myself in the after recovery part. I needed her assistance. My daughter was there, and there was no way I could have made it through that period without her.
And she's still here by your side.
And
I'm so
she's
glad
still
to hear.
here.
So now I also understand that you're now going through a treatment again.
Yes, after the surgery, I've taken several PSA tests, and my PSA level, even though it has went down, my doctors wanted it at 0 for me to have the prostate removed. They felt it should be at 0, but they were also aware that it might tick up. And so mine, the last 3, have gone up slightly each time. So that made the decision for radiation to be a simple solution to it.
How long have you been going through radiation?
I haven't started yet.
Oh, you haven't?
No. Initially, the diagnosis and the treatment plan was to go into radiation in February on a 10 treatment plan on a 12 treatment plan in 10 days. And that has changed because of the location of the cancer, as well as the amount of my PSA ticking up. So now I am scheduled late May, early June for 38 treatments that I'll have to do in a 8 to 9 week period. So I haven't started those yet.
Okay.
So
And again, for me and not knowing it, anyone that needs to know, what are those treatments?
those treatments, they were going to be pinpoint, but they're more in the invasive type of radiation.
Okay.
I'm getting coached. Yes, ma'am. Yes. I
Oh,
was getting to that wonderful shot.
So now we talk about hormones, is what your bride is saying.
Yes. I had to, upon realizing that I was going to do the 38 treatments, my radiologist suggested that I start hormone injections right away.
Are those hormone injections kind of what we women have to go through too?
Pretty much. I don't think you go through
She
them
says yes
with
with
an
a big
injection,
nod. Okay.
but I think you go through those naturally,
Okay.
and they're making me go through those unnaturally.
So you're gonna know what it's like to be going through menopause.
Yes, the doctor did pause and say that I will be in a menopausal state, where hot flashes and
Okay.
tiredness and crankiness and irritable and things like that, which is not normally me.
No, it's not. You're very
Very
upbeat.
Yeah.
Very upbeat. So I think that's why we got along when I first met you.
Mhm.
That's gonna be quite the adventure. Now, these hormones, are they for the rest of your life or up until the treatments?
Well, I have a 3-year plan of shots that I have to take.
Oh,
And the
okay.
shots, although they say they are not painful, they have a lasting effect 2 to 3 days after the shot.
Meaning?
Meaning your area that you get shot with
Okay.
hurts
Okay.
for several days.
Do you sympathize with us women now?
A little more, not with the shots, but the aftermath.
Okay.
I found myself the other day driving home and a person was doing 45 in the lane in front of me and the speed limit's 45. And I was like, would you please hurry up so I can get around you? So,
I think we're all guilty of that regardless of run hormones.
yeah, but normally I would have adjusted my speed to 42
Okay.
or just simply went around. So I
Okay.
find myself feeling a little more tired towards the end of the day than I normally did. And I'm taking hormone pills as well for the next 30 days in between the shots that I have to get every 6 months.
So I sit here with anxiety. I don't get anxiety, but I feel like it's anxiety, I'm going to say, because the things that you were having to wait
Mhm.
as opposed to
Yes.
you were given February. Now you've got this span of time, so I feel anxiety for you. Am I wrong with that? You having that feeling?
No, that's what kept me up. When I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and the fact that it was in May, and the fact that my surgery wasn't until August, I had June and July to think about things in my life and how I would feel, and kept me up. My sleeping pattern was way off, where I'd sleep a couple hours, wake up, and couldn't go back to sleep because it was on my mind, things like that. Not until probably maybe 2 weeks before the actual surgery, I would get up and read my Bible, and I heard a song, and I played the song, and I just broke out into tears, and it just showed me that God has me on this path, on this journey, and He'll take me through, even though my human side says, I'm afraid and I'm
That's selfish
anxious.
part.
Yeah, my spiritual side says totally different. So.
It should be okay.
Mhm.
Good to hear. Very spiritual, very connected. I'm glad to hear that.
Mhm.
Is there anything that you want to share as far as how important it is for men to either get their prostate
I
checked?
think for us men, a lot of times we have to set aside our pride and our egos and things like that. Like I talk to people in golf, the guys have their ego and try to figure out things on their own. I think as a male, in the roles that we're invested in today, I think putting that aside and looking at the people around you. They want you around as long as you want to be around.
Right.
Most times. But I think getting that PSA check once you're over 50, as soon as you do colonoscopies, you should probably get your prostate checked. And then monitor it there out, whether it's every year, whether your doctor says, hey, I want to see you in 6 months or something like that. But getting that initial PSA test, I think, is crucial into the recovery and diagnosis of the prostate cancer.
So being a walking testimony of what you're going through, cancer
Now, and I'm a testimony for that because I know I'm gonna beat it, and I'm gonna beat it with the help of God and the support of people around me, because I also feel that when people love you and give you love, that's a healing part as well.
With you. And then you've got the support system that always makes it helpful. You don't think you're alone in it.
Exactly.
Good.
You know, my wife is constantly there for me, and she's supporting me along the way. So,
Shout out to her.
Yeah, shout out to her. So that gives me extra motivation.
Your strength, your rock.
Mm-hmm. That is, she is my strength and my rock.
So I always ask this question, and not everyone has an answer. They don't actually think about it, but I always do, because we recently learned of a very tragic loss of Kobe Bryant, and then other members that were on the helicopter. Life is short. You hear the cliches. You never know what you have until it's gone, or you should do this, you should do that. What legacy would you like to leave behind once your days are done?
I think that I tried to be the best person that I could be. I tried to be the person that God has built me to be, and God puts in me some of the things that I do, whether it's humor, whether it's how I interact with people. I just want people to remember that I was God-filled and that I cared.
Your faith is very
cared.
strong?
Yeah.
Was it prior to this?
It was tested.
Oh,
but as in the test, it's strengthened.
Okay.
So I would just hope people would look upon me as there goes someone that lived his life for God and that he enjoyed it.
So if anyone would want to get in touch with you, maybe because I know that you just talked about egos. I have an ego sometimes too. We all have an ego. It doesn't matter what gender we are. If someone wanted to reach out to you to ask questions, would that be okay?
Yeah, that would be fine.
So if they contacted me or in the comments below, they could say, hey, I want to talk to you. Is that okay?
That's perfect. The more people that I share my story with, the more it helps me.
Perfect. Well, thank you for sitting here with me. I know that's probably a very sensitive thing. I met you a while ago. When I heard of it, I was heavy on the feeling, and I don't have anyone that I've talked to about prostate cancer. You hear about it, but then they're already gone. And I've never actually met anyone who's actually going through it after. So thank you for sharing and being a testimony that you have got a lot of things that you've been through, and you're still going to get through it just fine.
All right, thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you. And if you have any questions or you want to get in touch with Nick, please feel free to leave any comments or an email below. Until next time, as I've said before, these just get better and better. We'll see you next time.